Battleground's been a great adventure. We've been out and about around the country, innovating, I think, doing things very differently and in a more agile way than conventional television. Hearing your stories about junk energy and the madness that's destroying our countryside, and just meeting you generally. Thanks to the great team here at ADH TV for making this possible, particularly to Jack, Charlie, Martina and Fred, and my colleagues at the Menzies Research Centre. Most of all, of course, thank you for watching. And just to play us out on this final episode, Charlie's selected some of his favourite moments from the show. What he says are the highlights. Let's find out. I'm coming through here because I've been told that there are old turbine blades that have been just dumped here. Here they are. This is renewable energy, by the way. Remember that word renewable. There's nothing much renewable about these things. These are old turbine blades, quite short ones actually. I mean, they look big, but they're some of the early 20 metres, I think, and now they've worn out. You can see, you look at the quality of it, it's not much life left in that. Can you recycle it? Good luck. Great beached whales sitting here, these massive, well, not that massive compared to the ones we've seen in action today. So when they run out, of course, what are we going to do with those? Same deal, right? Just sit here. This tells the story. So $1.4 billion for the Turbine wind farm, and in 15 years they'll just be sitting here like this. Almost every night right now, massive convoys assemble to carry blades from ports to the inland areas, and they're clogging our highways and causing disruption to local communities. This morning I caught up with one such convoy on the Hume Highway near Yass.
Yass, about 5 to 6 in the morning.
I've had a tip off that a turbine blade is being transported to Rye Park, one of the biggest wind farms in Australia. I think I've just seen the police cars pass by, which indicates that something's about to happen, I think. These 75-metre blades are on the last stage of their journey from Denmark, where they were manufactured, taken by ship, I believe, to Newcastle. So this is approaching the back end of the convoy now. So this is, you can see the operation here, police cars front and rear. They've mapped out this route long before. This is all part of the planning process for the wind farmers. They have to provide details of the route. Where necessary on country roads, the roads have to be in some parts widened to accommodate these things. I can see far up ahead, probably about 500 metres down the road, the blade just now making its slow right turn across the highway. The convoy arrives every morning at dawn, with the police escort negotiating its way delicately through the narrow lanes that lead to Rye Park. A huge turning circle of heavy-duty road has been built just for the trucks. They need this area in order to get round the bend with a load almost 100 metres long. It can't negotiate the 90-degree turn onto Rye Park, so this has been built instead. Just watch this. Before the wind turbine development came along, Rye Park was just a quiet rural town with a post office and not much else, surrounded by sheep paddocks. Now it's an industrial zone with looming 200-metre turbines in position around the hills. Constructing a turbine development on such a huge scale on rugged, hilly terrain is a major engineering feat. 1.5 million 2 cubic tonnes of cut and fill bulk earthworks had to be constructed, along with 80 kilometres of access tracks like the one you're looking at here. There were crane hard stands and crane assist pads.
All in all, the project just costs around $1 billion. It includes two 330-volt substations, 28 kilometres of transmission lines, 8 kilometres of overhead lines, and over 90 kilometres of underground cabling. Latest estimate, as I say, of the project, $1 billion.
The spin they put on these things is just incredible. 210,000 homes is what Rye Park is supposed to power. Well, build 2 Rye Parks and you've pretty much covered Canberra. I mean, perhaps we might put up with the industrialisation of the Yass Valley for that purpose. But of course, it doesn't work like that, does it? You know, this is intermittent power number one. It's unpredictable. You need backup. And you're only getting about 25 to 30% of that wind over the year. So 400 megawatts, more like 100 if you're lucky. And then you don't know when it's coming. I mean, can we have some wind on Thursday, please? Be nice, wouldn't it?
Vast areas of the Australian countryside are being turned into industrial zones that are anything but green. Local communities are frustrated and angry, outgunned and out-resourced as they fight to save their precious countryside from the bulldozer. Last week's rally was a sign that something big is happening. Communities faced with the blight of renewables are organising. They're forming alliances on social media, pooling their knowledge and finding better ways to fight back.
Where, you know, it was drinking violence. You know, we're here to make some noise, we're here to get noticed, and we want our voices heard. And we've invited Minister Scully for planning. He's declined. We wrote to the Premier and we wrote to the Minister of Environment, Penny Sharp. The invitation is still out there for them to come.
This is the start of something big. We are not going away. Chris Bowen, you didn't ask our permission. Piss off!
Power to the people. Power to the people, right on. Power to the people, right on.
Yeah, we're going to do a cover now. This is about tomorrow, and we're trying to stop what's happening for our future. We are trying to preserve the land. Sing along and dance. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. Yeah, it'll be here, better than before. Yes, it is gone. Yes, it is gone.
It was a day of passion and exuberance, a clear warning to the government that while renewables may be a sacred thing in the green religion of the inner cities, in the rest of the country they're poison. After Mount Emerald, focus shifted to Kaban Forest, where the destruction has occurred on an even greater scale. Residents have been mounting a series of protests at the site for months. At the most recent, the official commissioning of the plant late last month, the protest was mostly peaceful. Protesters standing in the road to make their point, officials and dignitaries entering the site. Peaceful, that is, until this happened.
Shame on you. We're protesting.
The driver of that ute is the Deputy Mayor of the Tablelands Regional Council, Kevin Cardew. Let's watch it again. Cardew pauses his Hilux and then apparently deliberately drives right into the protester and over the banner. After that, things become a little heated. One protester tries to grab his keys. Two men The two men then front up to one another. Fortunately, calm was restored, and no one threw a punch. From Tasmania to far north Queensland, Australia's hills and ridgelines along the Great Dividing Range are under threat. Here near Stanwell, less than 30 kilometres west of Rockhampton, you enter another world, a haven for native vegetation and wildlife on rugged hills, all but inaccessible by vehicle and challenging enough on foot. Yet it is these areas of wilderness that the renewable energy industry has in its sights. If the Moa Creek and Moonlight wind farms go ahead, this terrain will be crisscrossed with roads 12 metres wide to allow the construction of wind turbine pads and access areas. It's a civil engineering project on an almost unbelievable scale.
So we're coming in, see the cliff face in front of us, that's called the Lookout, that mountain.
Yeah.
So this is the Moa Creek project, they want to put a turbine right on top of that.
On top of that rock.
On that rock there, I've got proof here with
A big one, presumably, then.
275 going there, Nick, to the tip of the blade.
Wow.
That's where they've got to take up to 30 metres off the top of these hills to get them under the specs.
Oh, you are kidding.
No, they need a 4 hectare pad to be able to turn these monsters, the trucks around, and the trucks are basically 130 metres long with the 100 metre blades on them. Because you remember, you've got to have a 400 tonne crane get in there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got to be stabilised. He can't be flapping in the breeze. So there's what you're seeing there on the top of that ridge line, 7 turbines right on the fringe of the top of this ridge line. 7. You can take 4 hectare pads on that. There's not going to be much of that hill left. Man doesn't get around much on those hills, I can tell you. This one's the scary one. This mountain, this is Black Mountain that's coming up towards us.
Black Mountain.
Black Mountain.
Yeah.
And he's 430 metres to the tip, to the height of the mountain.
And they're going to put one right smack bang on top of it. On here. Yep.
He's going to have a little brother though, because you're going to put one right on top, and the little knoll beside him, that's his brother. There's one going there as well. But you put 275 metres on top of that, I think we're going to have some problems, because you see how much dirt's got to be removed.
Oh, it is criminal. It should be fenced off to the crime site.
Well, Nick, we haven't finished. We're not going to... So the amount of earth that's got to be shifted between those two knolls to get a 130 metre truck in there with a blade on it, let alone a 400 tonne truck crane to build the damn thing, I think they're kidding themselves, to be honest with you.
Wow.
It's unreal, isn't it?
It is unreal, then.
The land area that the turbines will consume will be considerably larger than Stanwell Power Station, which looks tiny by comparison. Yet on the day we visited, Stanwell was pushing out a very useful 750 megawatts into a grateful East Coast electricity grid. The land required to produce that amount of power by wind will be dozens of times larger. Glenn and Nikki Kelly have lived near Stanwell since it was built. Glenn used to work there. But the wind turbines proposed for the land around their property is another thing altogether.
So to produce on their scale of things, to comprehend with Stanwell Power Station, we're looking at 7 to 10 Moa Creek projects.
Yeah.
But that's if they were working at a...
At the nameplate?
Yes.
They never do that.
They never can.
They never do that.
And they're talking CQP, which I've spoken to the CEO of Energy Estate. When we've spoken the amount of projects to go in this area here, there'll be 400 turbines within 30 kilometres of my house.
Our goal is to try and get the message to the city, and I think that's been the hardest thing, that they just don't want to know. We can get into media in regional areas. It took us a while to crack the ABC. They came out and interviewed us a while ago, and she basically just said, I don't know if I'll get this up. I'll need to talk to my boss. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. But we're starting to see it, and we go to the city and start telling people, and they're like, I have no idea about what do you mean?
I've seen this in dozens of communities up and down the Great Dividing Range, and there are many more that I haven't even been to, others that I haven't even heard, right? So this is affecting the lives of thousands, probably tens of thousands of people in rural and regional Australia.
And we sit here and we look at a power station that's been putting the lights on for 30 years. It uses this much space. You start doing all the calculations on these new projects and the amount of land that they need and their capacity factors. Once you start doing that, you're just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. The numbers just do not make sense, and you can't get that through to people.
Common sense and the environment are the two big things, and we, for one, wouldn't be here unless, as a sixth generation, unless we were doing something right, because there's a lot of blokes that go into the war, and I mean, but we're still here for one reason. It's because we plan on carrying it on for the next generation, and we've done our job. But I can't expect my girls to carry on the farm when they're going to get all this plonked in their lap and devalue their land for one. The costs of where this is going to blow out to for two, they're things that my children can't fight for yet. They can't do it. It's up to us to sort it out for them, and we're going to do it too.
What you're seeing here just reinforces the need for some moral clarity in this debate and the challenges that we face. I'm here in southern Spain, the town of Granada in Andalusia. It's not a special town. Well, it's a very special town in a lot of ways. 2.5 million people come here every year to go to see the Alhambra, but like so many other towns in Europe right today, it is engulfed in a demonstration by people supporting the Palestinian cause. I mean, as you see from the kind of people here, there are all kinds, There's obviously people who look like they're migrants to Spain from the Middle East, other parts of the region, possibly from Palestine too, but I would say, looking around, at least half the crowd here are Spanish people, students, people from the LGBTQ movement, people who call themselves radicals, people who wouldn't have much to do with, wouldn't much like living in Gaza, I suspect, but they're here to protest in favour of Hamas, in favour of what's happening down there in southern Gaza. And I have to say it's really quite troubling. This is happening all around the world, of course, not just here in Spain, but in Australia too, in Britain, even in the United States we see this community, in universities. Jewish people feeling threatened by this return of what amounts to anti-Semitism, and you can see why. When they demonstrate, they like to do it quite forcefully. It's the children in a way that break your heart here. It isn't why I came to Granada. I just came across this here. I was here for other things, but
that's Europe, you know, it's a random square, in this case the Plaza Nueva in Granada, a place where you normally come and have a quiet cup of coffee or a cerveza or something like that, a bit of tapas, and today it's been taken over for a very different purpose.
We're talking about the most important area of biodiversity in Australia. And to put something which is essentially an industrial land use with massive change in the local environment, roads, turbines, access arrangements, etc., right next door to it is nothing short of foolish. And there are plenty of other places you could put a wind farm.
That's a big call, the most important area for biodiversity, given what we have in Australia, everything from the Daintree to the Tasmanian forest.
Let me read to you. This is from the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area, the World Heritage Authority's website. The Wet Tropics World Heritage Area was ranked sixth amongst the global sites. So it's the sixth most important site in the world. And second amongst World Heritage sites. So it's the second most important site amongst World Heritage sites in the world for its irreplaceable endemic species and threatened species.
Of the many species threatened in the Chilumban forest, the greater glider is the one that holds most concern.
It's pretty much the end of them. So locally there will be species extinctions. There are other areas in which greater gliders live, but they are threatened and they are under greater increasing pressure.
Wow, look at the size of it. That is a monster. The V162
Get up close, it's just huge, right?
Yeah.
It's just...
So these are massive, and then to imagine that...
Just the sheer challenge of getting them in here.
Yeah.
You've seen this, right? You've seen it happen.
Yeah, really big engineering challenges. And they've got to get them into really hard spots, up steep inclines, on top of ridge lines, on top of mountains.
Yeah.
All of this road base needs to be quarried from somewhere else and trucked here. So it's not only pushing the roads in, but then you've got to really open up another quarry to provide all the road base. What we're seeing here, Chilumban, 145 kilometres of roads like this through all that country down there.
Yeah.
See all that country, that's the Chilumban side. So that's all going to get carved up like this.
Well, here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we're going to need 9,000 of these in Queensland.
Bowen's own figures is we should be putting in one of these every 18 hours.
That's right, yeah.
So every 18 hours we've got to put one of these in.
Every day till 2032.
The recipient of the Walkley Award for Investigative Journalism and the Graham Perkin Award for Australian Journalist of the Year, and author of 5 books.
All these things are wrong, Nick. I think you'll have to start again. I haven't run a Walkley, haven't won the Perkins. You're just reading off the script.
Mate, you telling me ChatGPT is wrong?
Totally. I mean,
this is bizarre,
isn't it?
Again,
yeah. We should have checked this.
So what am I going to miss out? Just the Graham Perkins stuff?
Graham Perkins, Walkley, never won a Walkley, and I've never worked on regional newspapers. I did a lot of...
Okay, all right.
You never worked on regional newspapers.
Well, black mark for AI. All right.
Totally, yeah.
Just goes to show, doesn't it? All right,
well, they
start
say
again.
It makes stuff up and fills in the holes. I'd like to want a Walkley.
Charlie.
You had to have your union fees paid up to enter the Walkleys.
I'll just skip through the script. That's all right. Yeah. Just he's won no awards. He'll never win any awards.
Nah. Won the Royal. We used to show best rural reporter once.
Okay. Thanks, Charlie. Right, we'll go again.